I wanted to say that it's been an honor to be part of this process. I've been amazed and pleased at the high level of expertise that's been brought to bear on this entire enterprise, and the sheer number of community members with extraordinary levels of expertise who've been involved as volunteers throughout. I'm here as well tonight to express my deep disappointment in the degree to which members of our community, our neighbors, are having uninformed and misinformed, uncivil conversations through social media. I'm embarrassed by it, and I want to be one of the members of the community to call it out and to ask that if we're going to, that it's really important for us to have important dialogues in this district about those things that are difficult, and I welcome them, and I wish that they could take place here in this room, at Starbucks, with one another, and not on social media.
Quick as well, as we mentioned before, I am here to speak about the strategic plan. There are some concerns among folks in the community that with all of this work that's happened as part of the strategic plan and all of the meetings and everything that everyone's done, we're kind of putting the cart before the horse again, as we're wont to do very often in this district, in that we're approving something kind of without all the information. We haven't really laid down how we're going to pay for things, how we're going to implement things. And at least from my perspective in the business world, we don't do that. We come at things, we come up with a plan, and then the next step is go back to the drawing board, figure out how we're going to pay for it, how we're going to monetize it. And then from there, we go through with accepting things and moving forward. So I have in my hand I'm losing my mind here, but thank you, a petition that was signed by 150 members of this community. And I'll read very quickly the first piece of it. We, the undersigned, ask the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education to delay approving the strategic plan and associated action plans until more detailed information, including projected costs and provided, are provided to the public. So that I can get this last thought in, and it's very important. What I'm saying here and what these folks have said, and if you read the comments which we've included, this is not to impugn the work that's been done by the people in the strategic planning process. There are a lot of very intelligent people and a lot of good work that's gone into this project. We just want to see that next step taken before any approval happens. Thank you.
I've listened several times to Dr. Ramos describe his 2 lines of progress for the district. On one side, the strategic direction side, and the other, the right side of the scheme, is dealing with all the other issues. I've listened at previous meetings the articulation of the need for a strategic direction, something to guide us and allow us to have fundamental goals in place, and so we're not just putting out the next fire. I get it. I'm on board with the need for a strategic plan. But the plan we have developed is much more than a point north or guidance. It is an ambitious plan, perhaps overly ambitious. The consultants signified that the process we just undertook could result in an unwieldy plan. They said that districts have on average 4 to 5 strategies. We have 9. So we have twice as many deliverables as the average district. I'm visualizing the average strategic plan as a remodel of a house. Our strategic plan is a major addition. Something of this magnitude demands significant resources to manage, implement, and fund. I am deeply concerned that we are devoting resources to this ambitious plan at the expense of the other pressing issues facing the district, that is, the work on the right side of Dr. Ramos' scheme. This work, the maintenance and more mundane improvements needed in the district, is the foundation upon which the strategic direction will rest. And of course, an addition can only be successful if the foundation is strong and stable. Focusing on this aspect for a moment, the right side, I would like to highlight 3 things in my mind lately. 1, I have a 2nd grader at Marshall. It's the end of December, and Marshall remains without a librarian. 2, the lack of substitute teachers has been discussed and has impacted my son's education as well. I'm super pleased to hear that there's progress on that tonight, which is great, but months have gone by with canceled classes, kids placed in other classes, and absolutely no communication. 3, I've been trying to figure out why my son's teacher has been directed not to share math assessments with parents. For several weeks, I've been trying to get to the bottom of this through emails to district personnel. This is my first struggle with this issue, although a recurring one in our district. Last fall, I heard many parents at the first summit insist quite emphatically that the district needs to have and enforce a policy of returning math assessments in a timely manner. I'm trying to suss out if the district has a policy, and most importantly, get my hands on my son's math assessment so I can support him by filling in any holes in his knowledge. So far, my emails have been unanswered.
Proud of this district in so many ways. I just want to share a concern we've touched on funding, and the fact that there's not a lot of information known yet about how some of these initiatives might impact the budget. And I understand that that's going to be an ongoing conversation, but my concern is this. Even the best program, even if it's amazing, if it started and stopped, it's actually not going to end up being all that helpful to anyone. I mentioned I have 3 children. I have a child in 4th grade, a child in 9th grade, and a child in 12th grade. And I can tell you that for my 2 kids who have been through MMS, just by way of an example, it's like they've been to 2 different schools, not different years in the same school. And I say this to make the point that there have been so many initiatives, there's not time to talk about them, but so many initiatives that have started, and good initiatives, started for good reasons, stopped for good reasons. But the problem is that there was so much time and effort and money that was wasted in the meantime that could have been used some other way. So my request is that, of the board, is that if you feel like you don't have quite enough information to vote tonight, I would request that you hold off on the vote, get the information you need, and so that we can move forward in a way that's going to avoid the starting and stopping of even a good program.
And I'm not optimistic. I say this as a parent who about 10 years ago met with a small group of women, mostly of color, who met with Superintendent Osborne about many of the same issues that are covered in the plan. Many of you are familiar with me, I'm familiar with your faces, and to me it's the same faces, maybe some new characters, but nothing has changed. African American boys still do really poorly in this district. I don't see the strategic plan addressing that issue. There were promises with the Access and Equity Plan about all these great programs, including but not limited to the 10 Marks this summer. When my child and I tried to sign into the 10 Marks program, it didn't work. When school started and he tried to sign into the 10 Marks program, they kept giving the same video over and over again as an example of how to do a certain math problem.
In terms of the strategic plan, I spoke to the consultants and I was part of a committee at the beginning of the strategic plan process. At the time I was teaching a graduate education program, a graduate education school at a university in New York. And with the consultants' permission, we used the strategic plan as an assignment. I must admit I was skeptical. I know you find that hard to believe. And my 22 New Yorkers thought this was just more New Jersey craziness. However, we followed the process as long as I was working with them, and we were blown away by the openness, the engagement, and the textbook process that the district was engaging. So I'm here to applaud you, to applaud all those volunteers who participated. At some points, the news has been bleak, and sometimes you've been called out for not being transparent enough. But any district that has over 100 people, community-engaged people, on 9 committees trying to build consensus is either insane or really optimistic.
So this is about perfecting a system, working towards perfecting a system. That's what a strategic plan is. It says we acknowledge that things are wrong and we're going to move in a direction to make things right. That doesn't mean that every strategy is going to be perfect, that everything's going to work out perfectly. It just means we are committed to making our school district the best school district it could be. So this is a process, and this is actually the very beginning of the process. And the important thing to remember is that as the process moves forward, there will be time and time again for people to have input. And one of the things I can say about this process is I have raised, I counted, 17 adolescents through my home. I'm a foster parent and a parent, and I've seen many school districts, both good and bad. But I've never seen a school district that welcomed the kind of input that right now is being allowed in this school district. And that in and of itself should give people hope that even if you don't agree with part of this plan, even if this plan doesn't sing to the things that matter to you, that there's an opportunity for you to have a say about that, to continue to talk. This is an ongoing conversation. This is not the end of the conversation. This is the very beginning.